My daughter has been watercoloring machine this summer, and honestly, she's been inspiring me. As a new mom, I haven't had the brain power for larger art pieces lately, but a mini watercolor, I can finish one in about 20 minutes. So when I saw this gorgeous photo from the farm of Teresa Miller, I knew I had to paint it. There was something about the light, something about that sunset and the way that she framed the photo. I just love it. In this video, I'm going to show you how I turned the scene into a little mini watercolor. It was so relaxing and all about playing with color and just letting go. First things first, I'll talk about my supplies. I'm using a little 4x3 inch square of 140 pound cold pressed watercolor paper. I got this from Amazon and I'll put the links below. I just love the texture you get with cold press. It helps create a really soft, beautiful blend. For paints, it's just a simple watercolor pan set. You don't need anything fancy. Then you'll want a couple of different size round brushes, 2 jars of water. I use one for dirty water and then one for clean water, and a paper towel, although I did decide to use this time one of my cloth napkins that I talked about in a previous photo, just to cut down on paper waste, and it actually worked out really well. For the sketch, I kept it super simple. I just use a light pencil for the horizon, the basic shapes of the trees and sun. I'm not trying to copy the photo perfectly, but just capture the basic beauty of the scene. Whoops, I don't know if you caught that, but I totally forgot to tape down my paper. Would highly recommend doing this if you are dabbling in watercolor, because as you get the paper wet, the paper tends to buckle, and then the paints will kind of roll off of the paper. So it's really important to tape it down. I used a fancy washi tape for this one because that's what I had, and I was on a roll and I didn't want to stop, but usually I just use simple blue painter's tape. All right, now that I've put down some paint on this paper, I will warn you right now, I am a total novice. I dabble in watercolor and enjoy playing with color more than anything else. It's a great way for me as a yarn dyer to learn how colors play together, how to mix them, how to make my own, and I use all of these concepts in yarn dyeing. I love creating layers and layers of color, and it's way more fun than getting the scene perfect. I took on this little mini project. I cut a whole bunch of papers that are this 4x3 size because I wanted to challenge myself to watercolor more often and to perfect the skill. So you're seeing one of the first few of this summer, and that's okay. So I started putting down a general layout in the colors I'd like to use. It's especially important to start out with the lightest application of color and then move darker. So for the first few layers, I'm adding more water to dilute the paint. And painting in layers also gives it time to dry a little bit before going in for the next layer. Okay, I have to be honest, in watercolor, there's a point in the process that I always call the awkward stage. It can look a little weird and messy. It's just blocks of color that don't quite make sense, but I cannot panic. Every single painting goes through this, and every project goes through this. You just have to trust the process and know that the final details will tie it all together. Now that our first wash is dry, I started building up the shapes. I mixed colors for different hues of greens and browns. I'm using a little less water on my brush this time, so I have more control of where the paint goes. I'll drop a darker tone on the side to hint at a shadow created by the sun that's in the middle and give the trees some shape. I'm using a soft, darker green and just dabbing the tip of my brush to suggest the texture of grass. I think my only regret in this entire painting is that I wish I had left the bottom portion of the grass, the yellow grass, dry a little bit longer before trying to bring in those long stems of grass from the original photo that was in the forefront of the picture. But it's a learning process. And really, isn't that the whole point of making things, is to learn and grow and get better and have fun and enjoy it? And that is why I create everything that I do. So there you have it, my finished mini masterpiece. We started with just a simple photo from Teresa's farm, and in about 20 minutes, I have that little world on paper. What I truly love about watercolor is that this is just so approachable. There's no pressure, there's no giant intimidating canvas. It's just an invitation to play, even when I am short on time and energy. I really hope this inspired you to peek at your own camera roll and see what scenes you can turn into your own tiny piece of art. I'd love to hear what you're inspired by, so please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this little painting session, I'd be so grateful if you subscribe and tell me the things that you're inspired by and what you want to see more on my channel. Thank you so much for painting along with me today.